The Baltimore Ravens took care of business today against a very good Denver Broncos team. Let's talk about it. Let's talk Ravens with Yolanda. Today's video, we are going to discuss each player that makes up the offensive line. Well, good evening, flock. How is everyone doing on this? Make sure, okay, there we go. Make sure my audio is all right. How's everyone doing on this Sunday evening? It is a win for the Baltimore Ravens, and I couldn't be happier. Very impressive win. But this is primarily because the offense just was unstoppable. We're going to share our thoughts about the game that hopefully we all watched or had an opportunity to watch earlier today, and kind of just really get into it, because the Ravens could not afford to lose against yet another AFC team. We've got to consider moving forward, looking ahead into the end of the season, into the postseason. We've already lost 3 games against AFC teams. So this one was an excellent win for us. Very happy that we were able to get the job done. I see you in the chat. I want to just say hello to all of you who've already joined and already hit the like button for me. Thank you. Thank you. If you know this live stream is going to be fire, go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're new, welcome. Please subscribe, join the family. But tonight, I want to say hello really quickly before we dive in. Osmond, I see you. Jared Green, I see a new face, a new avatar. Bailey, thank you for joining. Hi, how are you? 86 Ghosts, yes, one of my amazing channel members. I think he was my first channel member. Thank you for being here. Thank you, 86 Ghosts. Shout out to you. And if you would like to become a member of the channel and just further support what I'm doing here, creating Baltimore Ravens content, there is a join button down below, and you can click join, and there are 3 tiers that you can choose from if you'd like to just kind of, donate to the channel. Everything that you do will be put right back into me learning and getting better at this craft called content creation. I see you, the Rogue Pod. Shout out to the Rogue Pod for helping me through my first live play-by-play earlier today. I was very, very nervous about it because I'd never done it before, but we got through it. And not only did we get through it, we had a good time. Well, I can't speak for him, but I had fun. So hopefully I might be able to accommodate and do that more often, do some more live play-by-plays while the game is playing. It's just a time for us to hang out, watch the game together, and you listen to me, quote unquote, commentate, if that's what you want to call it. I see you, Brent. Good evening. Equip Institute, Florence. Thanks for joining. Agnes. Yes. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, B Squared, you were second. Okay. I think maybe Sean Coles might've been first. I don't remember, but thank you to you for being a channel member. Ladies, gentlemen, we got it done. I didn't get a chance to do a preview show, and I missed you guys this week. I did. I really did. So I couldn't wait to turn back on the camera and just hear from you. But this is what I will say. I had concerns going into the Denver Broncos game just because I knew how good of a defense they are. But for some reason, they had no answer. And this is where I'll start. Our offense going up against their defense. They had no answer for our offense. For the most part. Yes, I know we can talk about the offensive line and okay, yada, yada, yada. They're improving steadily, slowly, but surely. Not great. But I know for me, that first offensive drive where Lamar Jackson got sacked, I believe it was on 3rd down, I just said, not today. Not today. I couldn't imagine seeing Lamar Jackson continued to be sacked. And thank goodness there was only the 1 sack on Lamar. He did get, there were a couple of, QB hits I think he took, but In terms of sacks, there was only the one, which was great because we all know that last week, Lamar Jackson missed 2 days of practice. And I don't know about you, but I'm holding bated breath, waiting to hear for his return. Whenever I hear him, he's absent, I said, oh gosh, I hope he's okay. And then we heard later on, hey, Lamar Jackson was out because he was trying to rest up his body, back, knee from the previous sacks that he had taken over the last couple of games. And I'm like, ooh, we need better protection for him so that we don't have to deal with this. But at any rate, I think I missed Jared Green. Sorry, I just saw you come on the screen and I passed you earlier. So I wanted to make sure I say hello to you. Thank you for joining. But we did not have in terms of our offense, what I found that they did not have an answer for us on offense, which I thought was going to be just the opposite. I thought they would be fairly good because they had been. They have been, in terms of going into this game, they were number 1 in pass defense or very close to it, and number 4 or 5 in rushing defense. So I thought, wow, this is going to be a long day for Lamar, his receivers. It's going to be a long day for our running backs, but that wasn't the case. I want to have a look at some of the stats that just kind of blew my mind, made me really, really excited just because, seeing it in real time, Lamar Jackson is just, and I was not at the game. I really want to watch a game in person. And I know Hendo mentioned earlier that he's going to the game on Thursday. Wow. I really want to see a game with Lamar Jackson in person because from what I hear, it's just otherworldly to watch. But let's have a look at some of the stats. This is what I really want to hone in on. Looking at Baltimore Ravens, our passing. Lamar Jackson, 16 for 19, 280 yards, 0 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. But this is where it gets amazing. This is where it's so wonderful to have him. 158.3 perfect passer rating. He's now tied, if I believe, with Ben Roethlisberger for 4. And this is still early in the season. We're just at week 9. We still have a ways to go. But Lamar Jackson, perfect passer rating. And I think he missed it last week by, I think he got 158.1. So he was just off just a bit. But wow, that is something to be said about him. Absolutely amazing. We really, as a fan base, should be so incredibly happy that we have him because of what he's able to do. Today, he continued to show us just how good he is, great he is. His ability to extend plays, his ability to escape the pocket, extend the drive, wait till his receiver gets open, survey the field, go through his progressions, all of the things and those accurate throws. For someone who has been told since he was young, or he's still young. I mean, he's only 28 years old, I think, 27, 28. But when all through, college and even in going into the pros, this is not for you. This position is not the one for you. But yet we see 4 times this season, perfect passer rating. That's amazing. That's so wonderful for him. But I know he's got his sights set on something so much greater than the stats that I just showed you. But it is a week by week, game by game, journey to the Super Bowl. Alicia, thank you so much for joining. Sean Payton is not as good a coach as people think. He's able to dial up some plays. He's able to call some good plays. But you're right. I mean, I haven't really studied Sean Payton that closely, but you're right. You might be right. You might have a really good point there that he might not be as good as people think. But his record, the Broncos' record going into this game, it was just as good as the Ravens. Just as good. So the fact that they came into this game, and I know I heard from several Bronco fans this week, there's no way, absolutely no way the Baltimore Ravens are putting up at 30 points. 30 was the barometer. Not even on this defense. Whew, looked pretty good to me. This offense. We saw touchdowns from Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. Shout out to Patrick Ricard, fullback alert. Patrick Ricard made his way into the end zone, and it's something that he had been wanting, according to Lamar, something that he had been wanting for a while. So for him to get involved and to be able to contribute and get us a touchdown, that's great. That's great. I know we didn't really see much, if any, of Isaiah Likely today. And, there are going to be games like that where some of our pass catchers or some of our running backs might not get as many touches. But we did see a large contribution from Justice Hill. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited, but I don't want to rush him. I cannot wait to see Keaton Mitchell return. Again, don't want to rush him. We're doing just fine with our running backs right now. The duo between Derrick Henry and a great compliment to him is Justice Hill. Our offense is doing so good. And like Lamar says, it's a pick your poison type of offense. It's one where you really don't know, a defense really doesn't know how to prepare adequately. And that's what we saw tonight. That's my biggest takeaway from this game, aside from the defense, our defense, but we'll get into them in just a minute. But aside from that, my biggest takeaway is how do you, and this is a question you can let me know in the chat. If you have experience, if you've played on defense, if you've coached on defense, how do you, as a defensive mind, how do you prepare for such a diverse, such a well-rounded offense like the one that we have here with this year's Baltimore Ravens? How do you do it? Because if you were to have asked me, if I were to have done a preview show earlier, I would not have said, there'd have been no way I would have said, they're not going to have an answer. They're not going to know what to do with us. Certainly this top tier defense would have been the one that I thought this one would probably be a big test for us. They're going to give us a lot of problems going into this game. It shows you that I don't know. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about, because the Baltimore Ravens on offense, we couldn't be stopped tonight. We just couldn't. So it was really good to see our, offense continue to get better in every single week. Our offensive line, they're getting better. And I'm going to say that they are getting better. The fact that there was only one sack, I would have liked none, but the fact that there was only one sack, coming from this really strong, tough, stout defense, hey, I'll take it. I don't want any sacks on my quarterback, but I'll take the one. I will take the one. But 86 Ghost says, I think Lamar has 4 and 3 people are tied at 3. Okay. I didn't know if he was tied for 4 or if he was leading in terms of perfect passer rating, but I know he's up there. He's up there. He's either in the lead now, and there are a couple, like B Squared said, there are a couple that might be tied for at 3, and that might be it. But either way, perfect passer rating only at week 9. What more can you ask for from him? Shout out to Todd Monken for calling a great game. We're continuing to see that. Beginning of the season with Todd Monken was a little shaky. It was a little rocky, but we're getting there. And it's wonderful to see each week how Todd Monken is able to look at the defense, figure out what type of, defense, what type of defense they're going to run or whatever, and figure it out. And then dial up a scheme for us on offense to where we can combat that. That's beautiful to see. It really is. So I will take that as a win. I will take that as an absolute win for us moving forward. Now, one thing that I will say about our offense, I said this earlier in the stream, Zay Flowers. I was very happy to see him get involved. Wonderful. I'm really happy with him. I don't know. Did he have any drops? I'll have to take a look and see if he had any drops today. I don't recall. The one drop that I did remember, or I do remember, Rashad Bateman. That's the one that I recall. And I was hoping that Rashad Bateman, because in the last few weeks, he's really been trending in a good direction. I was hopeful that we would continue to see more of that. But it's one game. I'm going to call it that. Okay, it's one game, but I don't want him to lose the momentum. That's what I want to see from him, the consistency. That's been it for me with Rashad. Consistency and making sure that he is dialed in and locked in with his quarterback. Seeing those from him, I think we'd be great. But yes, Nelson Agholor showed up early in the game, and the joke was, hey, he had to show up today. Nelson Agholor knows that we just signed Deontay Johnson, and there's some competition there. So he had to come out. He made his one big play and had the great catch from Lamar early on. And I don't really know if we saw Nelson too much more after that, but that was kind of my assessment of offense. We're going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to see this offense light the scoreboard up for us going against that defense and able to put up 41 points. My hat goes out. I tip my hat to them. The not so great part of this game, and I don't want to sound like a fan who is ungrateful, unhappy, but I have to call it like I see it. It's the defense. Yes, was there an improvement this week in terms of how we played overall on defense compared to last week? Yes, there was. Compared to the week before? Yes, there was. Sure. But is it still concerning? And for me, it absolutely is concerning. It really is. Because when you consider who we are on paper as a defense, and that includes salary, how much we're paying, where we drafted these players, is it looking like the team that we thought it would? Is our defense looking like what we envisioned, especially for the amount of resources that we've invested in the defense? It's not. And I'll start with like the players who I thought did very well. And then I'll round it out with the ones who are just kind of right now. Tavius Robinson, I thought he earned some more snaps. Trenton Simpson, same thing. I think both of those players came in and did really, really good. But outside of that, and I will say the defense ability to make crucial stops on fourth down, I think the Broncos were 1 out of 4, maybe 1 out of 5 on fourth down. And we were able to, 1 for 5 on fourth down, and we were able to stop them. So that's good. That's good because we saw previously where we struggled on third downs. And here, taking it to fourth down, Ravens were able to do something today. So that's really good. Very good. But what I will say, and Goldman, I'm going to get to that in 1 second. 10 points now, that's saying something. I'll touch on that in just a moment, and I'm going to put a pin in that comment. But what I will say is, overall, our defense did better, but we're not great. We're just not. And when I look at a football team, I want to see if I'm talking about one that is a true contender for a championship, right? If I'm looking at a team to survey them to say, is this team, are they going to be able to make it to a Super Bowl? Do they have what it takes to win it all? Do they have what it takes? To me, you need to have complementary football. You can't just have a really good offense and a poor defense, and vice versa. There's the saying, defense wins championships. And to some degree, there's merit there. To some degree, yes. But you have to be able to score points. We figured that part out. The scoring points part. I think we're there. But looking at our defense, yes, we held them to 10 points. But has Denver this year really been that solid offensive team? No, They're not winning games because they have an amazing offense. Denver has been winning games because their defense has been carrying them. Much like our team, our offense has been really carrying us. It's Lamar Jackson's ability to continue to score points. Hey, you just need to score one more point than the other team in order to win the game. That's all you need to do. And by all accounts, Lamar Jackson has been doing that. Now, our defense, on the other hand, hasn't really been living up to what I would call expectation for the amount of money that we're paying them. And as I mentioned, for where some of these players were drafted. Couple of things to note. Very good. It was really good to see. We did get the early interception by Ardarius Washington. That was great because that was something I had been asking for. When are we going to get some turnovers? When is our defense going to be able to make some crucial stops? And we got the turnover, we got the interception by Ardarius Washington. Sad thing, though. When we got the ball back, we weren't able to score. I don't know if we went 3 and out, but it was a very short drive right after we got the ball, after the interception, and we weren't able to even get a field goal out of that. But we know that in our interior D-line, Travis Jones, we know that, because of his injury, and I don't know if he played today, but we know that Broderick Washington is going to have to step up. We know that because look at Matabike. Here's one, and we can start with him. Here's a player who just signed a massive contract this offseason. Last year had a phenomenal season, was really a force to be reckoned with. But this year, he's just not been it. He hasn't. And that leads me to what I think is probably our greatest concern right now, our greatest need right now for this team is our edge rushers. Where was Kyle Van Noy? Where was Odafe Owe? Where and why was, not where, but why was David Ojabo a healthy scratch? What's going on with that? So those are just some things that I'm, thinking about. Yeah, I think if I look at the stats, we did get a sack, and it came from, let me see, who had the sack today? Bear with me. Trenton Simpson had one. Malik Harrison had another, because we had 4, a total of 4. And Tavius Robinson had 2. That's it. But in terms of our edge rushers, were any of them able to get to the quarterback? Not really. And that's what concerns me with this team. The fact that we have these edge rushers and against a rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, we gave him way too much time in the pocket. We did not apply enough pressure. Yes, I remember saying a few times during the live stream earlier, wow, there's some good pressure by Odafe Owe. But I need to see them not only create and generate pressure on the quarterback, especially a rookie. The same thing I thought against Jaden Daniels and more recently last week against Jameis Winston. How were we not able to really just go in and dominate up front? How is it that our edge rushers couldn't get to the quarterback? I don't understand that. So Goldman, yes, 10 points. You're right. We were able to hold them to 10 points, but I have to look at the totality of the circumstances. I have to look at all of the evidence. What is the evidence? The evidence is it's a rookie. You should be able to hold him to 10 points. Other than Cortland Sutton, who do you really have on this offense? So with that being said, Lil Joker, oh, thank you. Lil Joker has just become a member. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Yes. And if you also would like to be a member and support the channel and what I'm doing here, there is a join button down below. And if you click in the description box, you'll see the join or the link to become a channel member. And it has 3 different tiers that you can choose from. But thank you. Shout out to my newest member, Little Joker. I appreciate it. Little Joker, you guys have a game coming up. The Vikings play. I'm going to keep my eye on them. Definitely going to keep my eye. But so as I was saying, but yeah, to your point, Goldman, we should be able to hold a rookie quarterback and a team on offense that really doesn't have a whole lot outside of Cortland Sutton. We should be able to hold them to 10 points. And specifically, a couple of people that I think, I mentioned my names earlier, the ones that really just kind of stood out to me. Let me know in the chat if there is one player on defense that really just is underwhelming for you after seeing this game. Trade deadline is Tuesday. We have until Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to make some trades. Some decisions are going to need to be made. We benched Eddie Jackson this week. Last week, we saw Marcus Williams on the bench. I have a theory. I think they are trying to figure out, I don't know if they're going to keep both safeties after this trade deadline. I don't know if they're going to try and trade for another safety to bring in some safety help. I don't know. I thought originally, and I'm still thinking that maybe they were trying to see how do we look on defense? How does our defensive backfield look with just Eddie Jackson last week? And now fast forward to this week, how does our defensive backfield look without Eddie Jackson and with Marcus Williams? I don't think they're going to keep both, but that's kind of my thought, because certainly safety is a concern. Safety is another issue. I don't think it's as big of an issue as edge rusher. And the reason I say that is because I think that if we were able to bring in a true, just a true edge rusher, just someone like not Myles Garrett himself, but someone like a Myles Garrett, someone like, a Max Crosby. If we're able to bring someone like that in, that would eliminate some of the pressure or a lot of the pressure in our secondary. So being able to get to the quarterback, being able to apply that pressure on him and get him on the ground would certainly lighten the load for what we have is right now a struggling defensive backfield. So that would be it. Yeah, Ardarius Washington. Hey there, Big Reg. Thanks for joining. Ardarius Washington is the answer. He's part of the answer. He's part of it, but he can't do it alone. And I gave kudos to Ardarius earlier. I think Ardarius comes in and for the most part, he plays very well. He does. And today he got the interception. So shout out to him. That's what we've been wanting. And when Marlon Humphrey wasn't here, when he was out last week, prior to that, he was leading our, and he still might be leading our team in terms of interceptions with 4. And we didn't see any when he left. So it was good to see Ardarius today. I'm going to take a few comments. Let me know in the chat, who would you like to see before the trade deadline? Who would you like to see the Ravens bring in? And then tell me, what realistically do we have to give up in order to bring that person in? So let me take a few comments while you let me know the answer to that. Okay. Yes, Agnes, Robinson has been playing much better. He has. Robinson has. Tavius Robinson, I think he had to earn his spot, and he's putting in the work, and he's showing it. Living Legend, thanks for joining. Bo Nix had more time in the pocket than Wallace. That's terrible. We can't allow that. He's a rookie. You might expect us to struggle against your elite quarterbacks when faced with like a Patrick Mahomes or someone on that level. You might expect that. But do we expect it when we're playing a rookie? And that's not to say Bo Nix is not a great quarterback. I think he's going to be a fantastic one. But does he have to be an excellent quarterback going against our defense? No, he shouldn't. Black Eyes, good evening. Can we still get Clowney? I think we can. I think realistically, Clowney is a good option for us. I personally want to see not just one. Bring in Calais Campbell. The reason I say we need some interior help, because with the injuries that we had, Brent Urban with the concussion, Travis Jones has been dealing with an injury. Because of that, we need to have somebody else in that interior. If Matabike is not going to, and again, we're at week 9. I know we can say, well, just give it some more time. Well, the season's halfway over. If we're not going to see an improvement in Matabike, and by that I mean very soon, then yeah, it'd be nice to go get Clowney, but don't stop there. I think we need Calais Campbell. Gary McCoy III, love to get Clowney, Zadarius Smith, and even try to get Josh Hines Allen from the Jags. Ooh, that would be nice. That would be nice. The Ravens, I don't know if they would be willing to do all of that, because you'd have to. In order to make something like that happen, you'd really have to just kind of say, I'm going all in and I'm parting ways with all of my draft picks in order to do so. And that's just not the Ravens way. Zico Kage, good evening. Good evening. Yes. Rod Wave, good evening to you. Yeah, no pressure again. That's how this game felt to me. We have this high-powered defense, and by high-powered, I mean a lot of money and resources went into this defense. Yet we're still not seeing the type of play or the level of production from them that would make me feel like, yes, this is it. We're on our way. We've got an offense that's firing on all cylinders and a defense that continues to improve. Did we get better today? We did. I'm not going to take that away. We did. But I have to consider not even next week. I was going to say next week we face the Cincinnati Bengals. That's not even true. It's Thursday in 4 days from now. So this is a very short week for us. There's not a lot of rest. It's rest today. I think they'll probably have tomorrow off, and that's it. And they're back at practice for a Thursday game. So we're going against Joe Burrow, who in my eyes is an excellent QB. Not what their record says, but I just think that they have other issues. Osman, a big part of the defensive problem is players not being able to understand or the scheme itself is faulty. I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to go with the scheme itself is faulty. Today I saw I saw less of the miscommunications on defense that I had seen in prior games. It looked like, okay, they understood the assignment, but schematically, that's where I think the big issue is for me. But you can let me know in the chat if you disagree. I'm not going to say that this is 100% on Zach Orr, because as Hendo and I discussed earlier, the players have to make plays. If an interception is thrown your way and you just drop it, it's right there, hand gifted for you in your breadbasket, and you drop it. Is that on Zach Orr? No, it's on the player not making the play. So there's enough blame to go around, but I do think it's also a part of the Ravens needing to ensure that if Zach Orr is going to continue to be the defensive coordinator, that he is able to find a way to turn this around. And no, I don't think Dean Pease is it. I don't. Yeah. Rod Wave says Clowney and Calais Campbell. Those would be my two picks. I mean, sure. Could I say I want Max Crosby? Yes. Could I say I want the Ravens to go to Jacksonville and perhaps New Orleans and say, listen, you guys are basically having a fire sale. So this is, I'm going to take my pick at which player I want off of your team. Sure. But realistically, are we going to do that? We have limited cap space. We know that. It's the Baltimore Ravens. Where is Owe? You know what, Hendo? He's in the same place. He's in the same place as the rest of our edge rushers. That's where he is. Because as I read off the names of those who had sacks tonight, name one that was actually an edge rusher. Yes, exactly, Rod. Jags lost. We need to scalp them too. Yes. Jacksonville, the Giants. We need to go. We need to shop around at the Giants. Jacksonville, New Orleans. That's it. Goman says, let's roll with what we got. Okay. I like your optimism, but why do you think we can roll with what we have if we see that we're struggling to some degree? If we have an opportunity to get better, Why not address it? Sure, we can roll with what we have. But if we are wanting to win a Super Bowl, what we're doing right now is not going to cut it long term. It's fine for us to win games. And even last week against the Browns, it wasn't okay. It wasn't. So because we lost, we came in second place. So if there's a way for us to improve, that's the only disagreement that I have with your statement. Let's roll with what we have. But, reasonable minds can differ. Brent Lauren, I agree. Edge is a big issue. It is. We should make a move while we can. What about 77? Are we settled on him yet? No, not settled just yet. I know, 9 games in, and I'm not settled. Let me know what you think, Brent. Oh, a Mr. Run past the quarterback, Rod. Okay. He run. I didn't even see him really get near the quarterback a lot of the time. They were holding. That's what they were doing. That's why. That's what happened. They were holding Odafe. No, I'm just teasing. I understand, and I have said it. If you've been on my channel or been around here for any length of time, I love Odafe Owe. And Joseph Smith, thank you for subscribing and joining the family. Thank you, thank you. If you are new and you would like to become a part of the family, just like Joseph did, please go ahead and subscribe. Join the family if you like what we're doing over here. But yeah. I stand by Odafe Owe has just not been living up to expectation this year, even though I'm one of his biggest fans. Gary said, Josh Hines Allen, a consistent pass rusher, and trade a couple of firsts. Ooh. Now, we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens. We are talking about the Ravens, and try getting a fifth from them and then package the 2 second-round picks. We're going to have to, because I think I heard Max Crosby, the Raiders said originally, they're not trading Max Crosby. Yeah. Okay, that's whatever. They'll trade him, if the price is right. Okay, if the price and or compensation is right, I do think they will trade him to a different team. But what I will say is, Ravens don't like to give up that much draft compensation. They just really don't. It would be great. And Max Crosby, I think, from what I heard, was wanting 2 first-round picks. Woo. Yeah. Imagine the Ravens doing that. Yeah, right. David Hunt, good evening. Thanks for being here. Thank you for joining. Rod says, so Madubuike just had an outlier year. I think so. When you have, just like you mentioned, it was his contract year. When you have a contract year, players seem to play differently. It's just a difference during a contract year. And then after the contract year, it's just like, we see a drop off. We do. That's just it. That's how it is. Not every time, not all the time. No, not saying that. But that's certainly what we've seen to be the case here. But overall, this was a really good win. This was a very good win for us. And like I said, our ability to stop the Broncos converting on fourth down, other than the Bo Nix jumping touchdown, whatever on Marcus Williams. Other than that, we did pretty well on defense. And that's not to say that we can't be better, because I believe certainly we can. And it's just a matter of bringing in, I think, 1 or 2 good key pieces. Bring in a Max Crosby, or bring in Calais Campbell, Jadeveon Clowney. I think we'll be set. I do. I think we'll be set. And Rod Wave is not really, I'm going to take a couple more comments and then we will end tonight's show. This upcoming week, please make sure that you have your post notifications turned on. If you just subscribed or if you're new, make sure your post notifications are turned on, because it's going to be a very exciting week, especially because of the trade deadline on Tuesday. And we don't know what these Baltimore Ravens are going to do. I'm hoping, and I'm speaking positivity into the atmosphere, that something good is going to happen. And when it does, I will be right back here to talk about it, share my thoughts, hear from you about whatever transactions the Baltimore Ravens make this week. Couple more comments. Osmond said, Orr is only 32 and never called plays before. You have to take that into account. Yes, you do. I think he'll figure it out. At least I hope so. I know he will. I do. I believe he will. It's not to say that I don't think that he will not eventually figure it out, but my concern with giving him more time to figure it out, we need to stack wins. We've already lost 3 games, so we can not really afford to continue to lose games and have a defense continue to show that they're just not functioning up to standard, because we need our defense. We do. That's right, Gary. Oweh got held 3 or maybe 4 plays this game. Is it me, or the refs don't even bother to call holding when it comes to him? I think that's right. I do. I did see him getting held a few times. I didn't count, but yeah, 3 or 4 times. That sounds about right. But no, they don't. He doesn't get the holding call. He does not. But that, to me, I'm going to say it, for me as a fan and a huge Odafe Oweh, truther, that's not an excuse. I still need to see Odafe Oweh improve. I need to see it. Living Legend said Eddie Jackson is handicapped. Oh, gosh. How did we look today? Let me ask you that real quick in the chat. How did we look today without Eddie Jackson compared to how he looked last week without Marcus Williams? Yeah, so I agree with you, Osmond. As I said, I do think he's going to figure it out. No pressure on Mahomes. Yeah, I agree, Rod Wave. We don't have time to learn. And if he's ready now, he's ready now. But to me, Zach Orr is just not ready. It might be just a little bit too much for him at this time. Not to say he can't become a great defensive coordinator, but I don't want to continue to waste Lamar Jackson's time while we give Zach Orr grace. So that's kind of where I stand. Oh, yes, Ojulari. I thought about him too, Gary. I thought about Ojulari as a linebacker from, what team is he from? I can see him. I can see him right now. I think I wrote it in my notes. From the Giants, linebacker from the Giants. Yeah, I said the Giants, we need to go and have a conversation. Go get Ojulari. That would be great. Clowney, Ojulari. I'm going to still say Max Crosby, even though I know he has a very high price tag. Max Crosby. I know Zadarius Smith is probably on his way out the door to a different team. I think he wants to go to maybe Detroit, but hey, I still say make a push for it, make a bid for it. Thank you, David Hunt. He just became a member, a channel member. Shout out to you, David. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. And before I go, if you are here and you enjoy the content here, make sure that you subscribe, join the family. And if you want to support and become one of the awesome channel members, the link is down below. Feel free to hit join and become one of our channel members, just like David did. Thank you. And Lil Joker. John Parsons, good to see you. Max Crosby would transform this defense. He would. But I think it's dreaming. That's okay. We can still dream because it's not over until 4 p.m. on Tuesday. So there's still hope. Good win for us today. Good win. We needed it. This was, to me, a must-win game for us simply because we cannot stand to continue to lose against AFC teams. We need to start stacking these wins. It's a very short week for us. We're going against the Bengals. We'll do a full preview of the game on Thursday. But we already know it's the Bengals. We play them twice a year. It's our second time playing them. I'll share my thoughts on Thursday and I'll hear from you. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. Let's enjoy this win. They took care of business against a very good defense. That's what the sweet part is. This was against a defense that was just supposed to, quote, shut down this Ravens offense. And they were not able to do it. Let's enjoy it. And I will see you very soon. Until next time, you take care, stay safe, and always remember, always, no matter what, go Ravens. God bless.